right, hi everybody. Thanks so much for joining our 2026 global gathering. I was trying to work out, I think this is actually our fourth year that we've done this. So it's great to have you with us. Thanks so much for checking in. And for those of you that are checking it out online later on as well, thank you for joining us as well. So I'm Tamsin. For those of you that don't know me, I'm the CEO of Medic to Medic. And if you're new to Medic and what we do, we are a UK and New Zealand and Malawi registered charity, and we sponsor and provide scholarships to students who are training as health workers in low resource settings. Now, our main projects are in Malawi, so all of our speakers from our community are Malawian. And we've got one of our UK trustees who's going to be talking at the end as well. So any one time in Malawi, we sponsor between 100 and 120 students, and they're students from a range of health professions, from certificate level through to diploma and degree level. So we're looking forward to sharing with you a few more stories and voices from our community. These sessions are always really nice because we get to hear directly from a student speaker, from a graduate speaker, and then from one of our university partners as well. So just a few housekeeping rules. If you're able to, please keep yourself on mute. It just helps things go a little bit smoother. We will have questions at the end of each speaker. And if you've got any questions, feel free to raise your hand on Zoom. I think there is a function where you can do that if you just look at the toolbar at the end. I'll be keeping an eye out on questions. You can also put your questions in the chat box and then I can read them out at the end. And then we'll go from there. Hopefully that will just make things a little bit smoother. As you probably heard, the sessions are being recorded so that we can upload to our YouTube channel a little bit later on. And then for those that weren't able to make it in person can also check out the speakers and the stories as well. Okay, so without further ado, we'll get started. We have, first of all, we've got Gloria. Now, Gloria, unfortunately, is busy this evening, so she did a recorded session during the week with me. So I will just share our discussion. So Gloria is she's a third year BSc student studying psychotherapy at St John of God University in Mzuzu. I'm hoping everyone can see that. It looks like it has shared well. And I will join you all after this session.
Okay, so hello, my name is Gloria Mtete. I'm 22 years old from Malawi. I'm studying psychotherapy and I am in year 3, second semester. So I'll just share a brief of my academic journey, my personal life, and the experiences that I've had before Medic to Medic and during as well, since I'm still in school. So my journey all started in first year actually. It was quite it was a transitioning period, so it was quite a difficult time for me, both mentally, financially, and it was all physically challenging as well, academically also. So in first year, the main support that I have is my dad. So when my father lost his job, everything was quite hard at home for everybody. My mother, my brothers, my siblings. Since we're like, I have a big sister and a little brother, and I'm the second born, so I'm the little child at home. And since we're all depending on him and things weren't working out for him, it was quite hard, very hard to the point that I wasn't able to write my end semester exams in first year. So it was really a sad moment for me because like our semesters are 6 months long, and then like I spent all those months and all that time studying, preparing, and whatnot. But then at the end of it all, I wasn't able to write my exams. So as my friends were seated for their like end of semester exams, I had to go back home. I was sent back home. So when I was sent back home, it became very challenging mentally for me because like I was so anxious, I was stressed, and that my friends are moving forward, and it wasn't looking like I was going to go back to school. Frankly speaking, I thought that I maybe drop out. Like that was it for me. That was the end for me. So in that time, I had lost a lot of weight. I lost a lot of weight and I had a lot of health issues going on because there wasn't even in the 6 months that I was at school first year, first semester, I didn't have enough food. I didn't have enough groceries. I didn't have enough things that could sustain me in school. So even as a girl, being a girl, it was hard to like keep up with my menstrual hygiene because even the basic things, the smallest things was hard for me to like purchase and to have in order for me to utilize them. So like I said, all those things were hard for me to the point that I had to write deferred exams. Like I wrote my first year, first semester exams the following semester after the school gave me the chance to like to sit for the exams again. So even though I came back the following semester, it was still hard for me. It was still hard because like I didn't know if I would get through that semester. I did not know if my father could manage to source out the funds to make me go back in school and whatnot. So even though I wrote the exams, my grades were poor. They were not pleasing to me. Yeah, like I had said that this is what I would like to be achieving at the end of the semester, but then with everything that was happening, it was so overwhelming that I was unable to get the results that I desired. So when Medic to Medic came in, it came at a point in time that at this time I was told that where it has reached, the best for me was to just drop out. And that really crushed my soul because like I really love my profession and as being a therapist, and I really find it healing as much as we like talk to other people, help them heal and journey in life. It was also healing for me. So it's something that I love and I would love to like go further with it. So hearing that news really made me to get more depressed and it wasn't really good for me. And then luckily, yeah, Medic to Medic came through and I really appreciate all the support that I get and all the financial support, the tuition fees, the allowances that we get, because now they help me to like, as it is right now, I'm at my clinical placement, so I'm able to live here properly and I'm able to cut off on my needs. And on top of that, I do not have a laptop. Yeah. And it really is hard with all the assignments that we get. Yeah, with all the assignments that we get and not having a laptop, it was quite challenging because here, if you don't have a laptop, you either wait in the library or the computer lab or go to these other places where there's laptops and you have to pay for you to access. So like I say that in those times were very challenging. So I was quite unable to like manage to find all that money to like access the laptops, do my assignments on time, and to finish studying. It was quite challenging. So as it is right now, we've started doing our research topics. So with the laptop that I have, that I received, it's really helping me with my studies and my research as well, because it has made everything easier. Like, I never expected or thought that things would get this easy, like things would get better for me, because there was really no light at the end of the tunnel. Like, I just thought that this is it for me. I'm going to drop out, and there is nothing more that I'm going to do. So, like I said, that after the opportunity came in, it came at the point in time that I really needed it the most. My family also needed it the most, because at that time they were unable to support me in the ways that I needed to be supported. So, of course, they were there for me emotionally. Yeah, they were there for me emotionally. But then, in this aspect of me chasing my dreams to become what I want to be, at the time, it was really hard. So we are all equally grateful for this opportunity that came in, because from how I said that my grades used to be poor back then. Now I have better grades. I don't know how I can show you, but yeah, I would have loved to do that. Yeah. But then there's a distinct difference, that there's a huge difference, a huge difference in my grades. I never used to get distinctions that time, but now with how the whole medic to medic came in, I no longer stress of like tuition fees, the finances, or if sanitary pads or anything that I need. I no longer like suffer with all that, because I really was suffering back then. So it really is something that has helped me and my family as well. Because, like I said, I have a little brother and parent as well. So I hope that when I finish my school, get a good job, then I'll be able to support my family as well. Because as it is right now, things in here in Malawi, things are quite difficult. Yeah, things are difficult. So I just want to be able to be the support that they would also need. And I don't want to like just waste this chance away that I have, this opportunity that I have, because I know that there's many others out there who would also have loved to have this opportunity. And I'm so, so grateful, because I would have just dropped out. Like, I wouldn't even have had a laptop. I wouldn't have had everything that I have if it wasn't for the support that I get. So, like I said, I'm so grateful for everything, and yeah, nothing short of amazing. It's been amazing, and I actually love the engagement that we get, the support that we have from our mentors, and all that. Yeah. Other than that, well, I would have loved to show my results, so that you would see the impact that Medic to Medic has had on my life academically. So yes, I guess for now I'll stop here.
Okay, so in Gloria's absence from the meeting today, we just want to thank her for sharing and being so honest with all of the things that she shared about. She did actually share a screenshot of her results, which were kind of before and after the scholarship. So I'll just try and share those, because she did want to share them with everybody. But if you have any questions for Gloria or any questions for us, feel free to put them in the chat box, just while I sort out the technology for the screen share. Yeah, or if you want to ask a question, yeah, feel free to raise your hand. Okay, so Gloria's results were here. So the results from before medic to medic were on the left-hand side. So she was achieving still very good results, B's and C's, very solid founding academically. But after the scholarship, you can see she was achieving B's and A's. Which is sort of quite an anecdotal report that we get from the colleges and the universities as well, is that once a student is on scholarship support and they're not looking for pieceworks, or they're not working, doing other things to raise money, then they actually can focus on their schooling much better, and their grades do improve. We'd love to do a more formal study on that and to sort of show the impact, because I think it really does show objectively how scholarships can be really helpful, particularly in this setting. So if anyone wants to get involved in a project such as that, then do get in touch with us, because we'd love to kind of develop that further. It doesn't look like we've got any questions for Gloria. If you think of any, as I say, feel free to put them in the chat box, or drop us a message, and we can get the questions to Gloria and then get back to you. We'll move on to our next speaker now. So we've got Dr. Ruth. Ruth was our first dental student who finished training last year, and she's now doing her internship at Queen Elizabeth Central Hospital in Blantyre. So Dr. Ruth, over to you when you're ready.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for this time. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Okay. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my story. So what I'll do is I'll share a bit of my personal life, my academic, and what I'm doing right now. So my name is Ruth Kalimbira. I'm dentist intern at Queen Elizabeth Central Hospital. I am 26 years old. I was born 10 May 2000, so I'm 26 years old. I was born and raised in Cheu. So a little bit of my family story. I'm last born in a family of 5. Unfortunately, I lost both parents before the age of 5 years old. So I've been raised by my sister. My academic, I did my primary in Cheu and in Nilongwe. At first, I was staying with my grandparents in Cheu until when I was under 6. Then from there, I started staying with my sister in Nilongwe. That's when I did my primary in standard 7 and standard 8 in Nilongwe. Then my secondary school, Archsub Secondary School, from Form 1 up to Form 4. So during my secondary school, it was my sister whom I was staying with. She was like every day encouraged me to work hard in my academics. Yes. Because she was like, she didn't go far with education because she didn't had anyone to motivate her. But like for me, I had her to guide me, to help me. So in my secondary school, I didn't work hard until Form 4, like my final secondary school exams, where I passed very well. I had 10 points, which was like great achievement for me and for my family. And from there, we did the university application, where I was selected to go to KuHES, which was then College of Medicine, to pursue Bachelor of Physiotherapy. In that time, it was like really great achievement, because from the background of my family, like there was no one who was like attended like tertiary education. I was the first one to go to university, and I become like a role model for my family and everyone else, because from what happened that time, it was what happened there. Like I motivated even my elder brothers to go back to school to go back to write again MSc, where later they went to university. And even my sister's children, they really work hard. They look at me as their role model, because I really work hard from I was in day secondary school, which was like for a girl child from day secondary school to pass with 10 points, it wasn't easy. And I was able to go to university. And I really motivated them to work hard. And from now, I think my sister's children, two of them, they're at Master, another one is at KuHES, which like it started from beginning. Like I motivated them from like I work hard at first to motivate them. From there, I went to start my foundation year in 2018 at College of Medicine, which is KuHES. So at first, I said I was enrolled as Bachelor of Physiotherapy, to pursue Bachelor of Physiotherapy. But when I was in pre-med, that's when we had like an orientation by Dr. Jimimba. They say they want to introduce dental school in Malawi. I think previously dentists were trained like outside Malawi. Yes, we were trained outside Malawi. We didn't have the dental school in Malawi. So they oriented us that they have planned to introduce a dental school. So like it was, some of us in foundation here, if you had like a passion to pursue dentist, we can switch from our programs to dental. That's when I applied for dental to switch my program from physio to dental. I applied, we undergo the interviews, I was successful. Then from first year, I started like Bachelor of Dental Surgery. That is in 2019. Studied Bachelor of Dental Surgery in 2019. 2019, that first year, second year, third year. So from like the past years that I was at the university, I was depending on government close board to help me for tuition and the upkeep. And my sister was able to provide some of the basic needs. But I think when I was in third year, that's when life became so tough, because my sister, like responsibility for my sister were so huge. So at that time, we were like 3 of us, me and my brothers, and the 2 of my sister's children. All of us, almost 6, were depending on one person to provide basic needs for us. And my sister, that time, was working as a patient attendant, which is like financially wasn't like stable, because financial needs was like, it wasn't, financial income was not that huge, so that it can manage to provide basic needs for all of us. And it was during that time that life became so hard at school, and the concentration was not there, because it was like I was even failing to find basic needs, some groceries, food. Even though government was able to provide tuition, but some basic needs for you to survive at the campus, it was so hard. So it was that time that my life, like I was so down. My academics were like going down. I cannot focus because of like I was worrying a lot during that time. And it was that time when I was third year, because I think I had a talk with one of my lecturer. I think he noticed how like I was at that time, because I was not concentrating in my academics, like my performance was going down. So we had a talk, was asking me what is happening. So I had to explain to him what was happening. I wasn't able to find basic needs. I was like, oh, okay, I'll look into it. Then a month later, I was connected to medics. That is that time. A month later, I was connected with medics. From there, I think I was given an application form. I applied and got the interview with medics, and I was successful. That is third year. So medics started supporting me in fourth year and my final year. And they really helped me, medics, because it was, they provide tuition fee, accommodation fees, upkeep, and they even gave me a laptop for my studies. And during that time, I really showed like some improvement. Like there was a really great change in my life, because I was more I concentrated on my studies. Yes, and it was because of that time, because coming in of medics helped me during my lowest moment. They helped me with upkeep, tuition fees, and everything, and I was able to concentrate on my studies. So through the help of medic, I was able to concentrate, and even in my final year, I was like named one of the best clinical students. All this was because medic was able to provide me with basic needs, and I was like, I didn't have like so much things to worry, and I left my family from like burden of financial burden, because medic come in to help me with basic needs. And from there, I finished my studies in last year, which is 2025. I graduated but on 30th April 2025 as one of the first Malawian trained dental surgeons here in Malawi. A month later, I started doing my internship program at Queen Elizabeth Central Hospital, which is like a prerequisite to be registered by medical council, which is I'm still doing now. It's a 1-year program. I'll be finishing my internship next month. So everything is just like, I just want to say thank medics who helped me like come in during my lowest moment when I was so down, when my academic performance was like going down, but they came in and left me and provide basic needs, which was not easy for me. And I really appreciate for what medic is doing, and they are really helping a lot of students, and being one of them, I'm really thank you. What I'm doing currently, as I've already said, I am intern dentist at Queen Elizabeth Central Hospital. So being an intern, it's like you are the first person. Most patients who come to the clinic, you are the first person to meet them. So I'm there doing we did basic dental procedures, tooth extraction, tooth cleaning, tooth fillings, and we are there to work to learn more about dentistry. And all this, it's like a fruit of medic to medics. Through their help, they learn that to us. Through their help, they learn to me. They rescued me during my lowest moment to provide basic needs, and they are really creative. Thank you. If there's any question.
Thank you so much, Ruth. That was really lovely to hear all your school journey. How are your siblings doing? Are they still at school?
Yes, currently, that's my sister's children. Two, they had master, another one is also at KuHES.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. So you've set a trend in your family now. That's really exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I ask a bit more about your, like, what is a typical day in your internship like?
Okay. Mostly, as I've already said, I'm doing internship at KuHES. It's like an intern, we're always on the ground. Every day you go there in the morning. Patient, when patient comes, examine the patient, you do the basic investigations, and you plan their treatment plan. Okay? If they need tooth extraction, you do them. If they need teeth cleaning, you do them. If you need like fillings, we do them. And you have some other section where we do like surgical part, where patient with like facial tumors, like jaw tumors. In those cases, like we just do the investigation, and if there's need of biopsy, we do the biopsy and come out with like diagnosis from their treatment plan. And that's one of the issues here currently we are having in Malawi. Because like currently, patient with dental tumors that need to be removed surgically. Currently, I think in Malawi we are having only one specialist, dental specialist, that's oral and maxillofacial surgeon specialist, who is doing those procedures. And if you had like a patient with a tumor, currently is like you have a waiting list for surgical procedures. So if the patient come, we do the basics. Do the basic investigation, need to do the CT scan, biopsy, and come with a diagnosis. And the plan is surgical, like if you want to remove the tumors, surgical excision or resection. So in that part, we left like the one who is like specialist here in Malawi, and it's like it's one of the like huge things because currently Queens have a waiting list of about 350 patients that are waiting to be operated, but all those were depending on one person. So it's like one of the motivations that like we really need, after finishing internship, we need to go further with the studies in order to relieve that burden in Malawi.
Yeah, wow. Okay, and what do you plan to do after your internship?
Okay, so that I think that's one of like after my internship, I think after my exposure to clinics, I think I'm planning to do my specialty in this field of oral and maxillary surgery because of like my experience and seeing how the patients are struggling, okay, to be operated because as already said, it's only one person here in Malawi. So I'm planning after my internship. Okay, I have to undergo further studies in this specialty. So probably I need to find a school for further studies in maxillary surgery.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's a great ambition. We've had lots of comments saying congratulations and thank you for sharing your story. There is one other question. So Bryony's just asked, do patients have to pay for dental treatments in Malawi, or is it all freely available?
Okay, I think in Malawi, like health systems, how it's working in Malawi, it's like we have health centers, district hospital, and central hospital. So what happens is like for basic dental procedures like tooth extraction, those things are supposed to be done in health centers and district hospital, which is for free. But the patient, if they underpass the health centers or this hospital and go straight to the central hospital, they're supposed to pay a bypass fee.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay.
Mm.
Oh, well, thank you so much. It doesn't look like we have any other questions coming in, but if there are any other ones coming through, I'll drop you a message. So thank you again for sharing your story. It was really inspiring to hear your journey, and it's fantastic that you're doing so well. We'll always remember you because you were our first dental student to graduate. So yeah, congratulations and thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll move on to our next speaker. So our next speaker is Dr. Kondwani, who I'll read he's got a beautiful biography. I'll just read the first bit of it. So Dr. Kondwani Mkandawire is a Malawian academic language education specialist and higher education leader with over 2 decades of experience in teaching, research, and academic administration. And he's currently serving as the Dean of Student Affairs and lecturer in Language and Communication Studies at the Malawi University of Science and Technology. And here he plays a key role in student development, institutional governance, and academic quality assurance. So I'll hand over to Dr. Kondwani now. I believe he is online. So yeah, Kondwani, please feel free to share your presentation and I will hand over to you. It looks like you're still on mute, Kondwani, so when you're ready as well, just unmute yourself.
Yes, I think there you can hear me.
We can hear you now. Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you. And we can see your screen as well.
Thank you. So I will not take a lot of time introducing myself because I think Tamsin has done a very good job in introducing me. I'm going to make a presentation about the Malawi University of Science and Technology, and the presentation is the one that I'm sharing on the screen. I hope everybody is able to see it.
Yes, we can see it. Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm going to talk about the institutional context and the student realities at the Malawi University of Science and Technology, where, as Tamsin has indicated, I work as a Dean of Students. So in terms of historical background for the Malawi University of Science and Technology, it's one of the 6 public universities that we have in Malawi, established in 2012 through an act of parliament. It first opened its doors for students in 2014. So reaching 2026, the university has been in existence for over 11 years. When we opened, I think we had 3 programs only, but now we have expanded to over 20 postgraduate programs. This university is located in the southern part of Malawi in a district called Cholo. It's quite a rural area, and the coming in of the university has brought a lot of impact on the community, on the rural community around this particular university in terms of employment, but also I think with our students, we have small projects that have direct impact on the community, especially those relating to secondary school education, where sometimes we send our schools to nearby secondary schools to do volunteer work, but also to establish clubs for secondary school students. As a university, we do specialize in science, technology, and innovation, and with a particular focus on solving national development challenges. We have an institutional mandate that we were given by the government when the university was established. Primarily, we are there as a university to advance the development of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in Malawi, and also to promote innovation and entrepreneurship among our students, but also even within our community. And with that, we are also mandated to train skilled professionals in science, technology, engineering, and math, with the aim that this will contribute to national systems, including the health system. When you look at the kind of academic programs that we do have, we have engineering programs focusing on biomedical engineering, chemical engineering, metallurgy and materials engineering, as well as manufacturing engineering. We do also have academic programs in applied sciences, particularly actuarial science, food science and technology, and science education, where we are training teachers to go in secondary schools and teach various subjects, including mathematics, physics, chemistry, and biology, just to mention a few. We do also have ICT-related programs. Our 2 flagship undergraduate programs are the Bachelor of Information Technology and also the Bachelor of Computer Systems and Security. Very marketable programs that have attracted quite a number of industries showing interest in our graduates. We also have programs related to climate science as well as sustainable energy, mining as well, and the water quality management. Medic to Medic is involved in sponsoring students that are doing health-related programs. Of particular mention are the 3 programs, a BSc in immunology, another one in medical microbiology, and then we also have another program in medical imaging. And not just wanting to make the university a purely science and technology university, to keep to the dream of the founder of the university, we also have one school that focuses on arts and humanities. So briefly, I think that's the academic focus for the university. In terms of the students' profile, the kind of students that we do enroll at MUST, these are students with high academic potential. If you are familiar with the Malawian education system, the kind of students that we enroll, especially because of our focus on science and technology, are students that have scored very high in the final secondary school exam that they do write. And being engineering programs that are very competitive, and therefore we do attract the cream of students that have gone through the secondary school education system in Malawi. These are students that through training demonstrate a very strong motivation to contribute to society. We deliberately do run programs on entrepreneurship. We also do have a work integrated learning arrangement with industry that at the end of the training, the students are left with a lot of motivation to contribute in different ways to society. Predominantly, the kind of students that we do enroll, they are usually low to middle income students. The low income are the ones that are dominant, and they mostly rely on support from the government sponsorship system through the Higher Education Students Loans and Grants Board. And because of this, we do see students struggling with a lot of socioeconomic pressures, such that when they find a scholarship that is there to take care of their needs, it becomes quite a relief, just as we've heard from the 2 presenters, Ruthie and Gloria. I'm now going to talk about the kind of challenges that I have seen in my work as Dean of Students, the kind of challenges that I've seen students struggle with. And the first key challenge is the financial constraints. Just as I said, that the students that we do enroll, most of them, perhaps 3/4 of our students, they do come from low-income families. And because of this, they have limited capacity to pay for their tuition and other fees, such that if there is no clear sponsorship program for them, the chances of them dropping out are very high. And we also seen that the cost of living for students has been rising, just like the cost of living generally in Malawi has. Specifically, the cost for food, accommodation. The university does offer accommodation to students, but now, since we are in almost our 12th year, our enrollment figures have been growing, while the bed space that we have as a university has not increased. So we've seen that other students who are not accommodated have to go off campus and look for their own accommodation. And the landlords that are there are people that are looking for money, and they charge accommodation fees that is higher than what the university normally charges. Also, as both Ruth and Gloria hinted, education in Malawi now is requires that a student should possess a laptop. And so finding a laptop for a low-income student is not an easy thing. The funding that they normally get from the loans board is not enough even for their own survival, and such that they can't even take part of it to buy a laptop or even a good smartphone for themselves. And because of this, the risk of students dropping out from their studies due to financial hardship is a real experience that we have seen. So these pressures also do affect their survival academically as students. The other constraint that I want to highlight is the issue of infrastructure gaps. Being a university that focuses on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, it requires a very heavy investment in infrastructure to make sure that the graduates that we produce are indeed graduates that can be accepted everywhere, nationally or even world over. But as a new university, we also do struggle with the finances. As a public university, our major source of funding is from the government, and the infrastructure that we have at the moment was the infrastructure that was constructed through a Chinese grant. And since 2014, when the university opened, we have not expanded the infrastructure that we had due to issues of funding. In the picture that you see on the slide, that's a multipurpose lab that we are constructing. It's now in its third year, still being constructed. At times it stops because of our funding, but it's meant to house all the laboratory requirements that the university needs to run its engineering as well as other technology programs. So the main challenge is the source of funding for such projects. The one you see there is being funded by government, and sometimes it takes months before any construction can be seen happening. Shortages for students' accommodation, I think I have already highlighted that one. Over the years, I think the government has been insisting that the policy for admission of university students is non-residential, and therefore universities are encouraged to admit as many students as possible, even if their accommodation infrastructure cannot accommodate all of them. So that forces a number of students, many of them, to go and look for accommodation outside. Those that can manage find better accommodation. Those that cannot find accommodation that can barely make them live while they go and attend their studies in the university. The other challenge is the issue of mental health. Previously, I think mental health was not a big issue. Maybe people hadn't recognized it yet, but we've seen that with the change from governments directly sponsoring students' accommodation, students' meals, from that change to admitting students on a non-residential basis has placed quite a significant burden and responsibility on students themselves, because previously the university would pay even for their meals. They would eat in the cafeteria. They wouldn't need to worry about where to sleep or where to get their next meal. But we've seen that with a change with a shift in policy that happened some years back, that has brought a lot of financial stress and uncertainty on students, because while they are learning, they also have to think where they are going to get their next meal. For our university, being an engineering, science and technology university, such programs are also demanding. So students do experience considerable academic pressure that also affects their mental health. In my office, I've also handled quite a number of students experiencing distress because of maybe relationships with parents at home, even relationships with friends. And so those are contributing to the general discussion about mental health issues in generally in higher education in Malawi, but in our case also specifically for our university, because mental health issues are recently gaining a lot of attention. Universities haven't invested much in providing psychosocial support services for their students. At my university, of course, we do have a university clinic, but we are yet to recruit a psychologist or who can help in dealing with issues of students' mental health. For our university, particularly, one of the key challenges is the issue of gender disparity. We do boast of being the very first public university to have a first female vice chancellor. But other than that, in terms of student admission, the number of female students has not been quite good. I can cite the figures for this year. I think we just released a university selection through the National Council for Higher Education. And this time around, I think our percentage has increased a bit because we have now managed to select 34% female students out of the 689 students that are coming to our university this year. So 34 are female, the other percentages are males. Generally, I think this kind of disparity is attributed to, it's noted that generally female students or female participation in science, technology, engineering, and maths, not just with our university, but also across other public universities in Malawi, is very low for a number of reasons, but mostly cultural. There's that belief that female students can't do engineering, for example, can't do mathematics, can't do science. So that has been an issue for quite some time. And as a university, we have tried over the years to demystify that kind of thinking. And so one of the strategies that we adopted since we opened the university was to be hosting girls' science camp. And we've been hosting that since 2014, where we do invite female students from secondary school that are either in Form 3 or Form 4 and come to the university during their holiday just to talk them out of the fear of science and engineering subjects. Perhaps that's why this time around we've managed to select over 34% of female students. But in the other years, I think it was quite discouraging. Now, I want to briefly talk about the impact of support. I think we've heard from Ruth and Gloria how much impact a stable source of income for a student can change their trajectory in their academic life. When a student has a stable source of financial support, it reduces their anxiety because they don't have to worry. They have a source of funding which assures them that they will get their next meal, for example. They have a source of funding that will enable them to buy a laptop, to buy a smartphone. And because of that, students are less anxious financially, which contributes even to their academic performance, but also increases their confidence and well-being. And with that, we strengthen their academic life, which in the end, we hope that it will strengthen their professional attitude towards work when they graduate. On the other side of my slide, there is an email that one of the students that I had recommended for the Medic to Medic scholarship wrote, having studied through that scholarship, and now he had finished his studies and was only waiting for graduation. And he was very grateful. In one of the sentences, he says, "I am deeply grateful for your mentorship, guidance, and advocacy. Your dedication in supporting students like me has not only enhanced my academic experience, but also instilled in me a sense of purpose and motivation. Your leadership and commitment to student welfare have set a high standard for others to follow. Honestly, I'll always regard you as my mentor and model." But somewhere he was also saying one of the most significant forms of support you extended to me was securing a medical scholarship, Medic to Medic. This scholarship covered tuition fees, accommodation fees, and upkeep, providing me with the financial stability necessary to focus my studies without undue stress. So that's the kind of testimony that pleases everyone who has made a contribution towards such a student. For me, I think there is no better reward than seeing a student that we have supported finish their studies and getting somewhere because of the support that we have rendered to them. So this is why I think partnerships like the one MAST has with Medic to Medic and several other organizations matter a lot. As a public university, we do face a lot of challenges. Public money is not always enough. Even the scholarship that the students get from the government loans board is not enough. Actually, it doesn't cater for all students. And even for those that are able to access it, the only upkeep that they get doesn't even last a month for the semester, because they get 280,000 kwacha. And if they do not have any other source of funding, from that they have to pay their accommodation fees and use the rest for their survival. So when we have partners like Medic to Medic to support some of our students, for us, we see that as a way of finding collective solutions to common challenges that our students are facing. But also, we also do expect that partnerships are good because they enhance impact and sustainability. We've seen Gloria, for example, is it Gloria? I think Ruth rather, giving testimony that because of the support that she is able to get from Medic to Medic and to focus on her studies, she has managed to inspire some of our siblings who have also gone to university. I think Gloria also said something similar. I also believe that partnerships are a good way of showing shared responsibility between universities and the other institutions in developing human capital that in the long run will contribute to the development of our country. In closing, I want to emphasize the fact that every student that is supported represents all this. So one, it represents a future professional who is trained in STEM, health sciences, and innovation to serve the workforce needs that Malawi as a country has. And I think that's not only true for Malawi, it's also true for every other country. It also represents a transformed community. It is common sense that when a student graduates, they return to uplift their families and even their local economies, thereby breaking the cycles of poverty that may have been there before they were able to attend studies. So you will see, even from the stories Ruth and Gloria have told, we actually see that when they finish their studies, they will not only act as role models, but they will also be able to support their siblings, their families in a number of ways. And in a particular way, for the medical or health-related programs that Medic to Medic is supporting, the obvious result is that we'll have more skilled health practitioners serving in the country where we have severe shortage of medical and health staff. And more importantly, a supported student is a catalyst for national development. Each graduate will multiply impact through mentorship, through research, and even through community leadership. So I do believe that public universities with the partners supporting students can really go a long way in turning potential into progress, even if the focus is one student at a time. Thank you very much for your attention. If there are any comments or questions on my presentation, I think you can now ask them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kondwani. That was a wonderful presentation. I learnt so much, and I think you highlighted a lot of things which we know anecdotally already about the student challenges. If you had to pick one kind of intervention for maximal impact to help students, what would you kind of recommend that it would be?
Yeah, thank you. For me, I think a scholarship that includes a student's tuition fees, their upkeep and accommodation fees, their need for a laptop, and also a program for mentorship training, or even for leadership training. I think that would go a long way in ensuring that the students that we support, when they get out of the university system, they are well equipped to face the world that they are going into.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing all those insights. I'm just looking at, I can't see any hands up. Let me just see if I've missed anybody. I can't see any hands up, and I can't see any questions. I think that often means that you've done such a great job with your talk. Everyone's left speechless. So thank you so much for sharing all of that. It was really very interesting. Thank you so much. If anybody comes with any comments or questions, I'll link you back in again. But yeah,
Right.
thank you. That was really lovely. Awesome. Well, we've got one speaker left. So we've got Bryony, who is an elderly care doctor in the UK, and she's also on our board of trustees in the UK as well. I will hand over to her. Hopefully, she's still with us online. Bryony, are you there?
Oh, it's a bit dark.
Yep, perfect. We can see and
Hello.
hear you, so that's so over to you when you're ready, and feel free to share your screen.
How does that look?
Yep, that looks good. We can see it.
So thanks, Tamsin, for the introduction. I'm going to talk a little bit about what it's like being a trustee for Medic to Medic, and yeah, a little bit of how I got here. So how did I get involved? What is a trustee? Some positives and negatives about being a trustee, particularly for Medic to Medic, and a bit of open time to answer any questions that you may have about either Medic to Medic or becoming a trustee. So I first went to Malawi in 2010, where I did my medical elective while I was still a student at Warwick Medical School. I was inspired by the people there and the beautiful. Okay. So I'm currently working as a specialty doctor in elderly medicine in the south of England, which is very different to things in Malawi. But I wanted to share a few photos of my medical elective. So in 2010, I spent 7 weeks in Malawi, spending most of that time in St. Luke's Hospital, which is near Zomba. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with things in Malawi, there's a very big difference to the UK. And although the patients get a bed in the hospital, they don't get any support with their laundry. So their family come along and they do the laundry, and the family also cook them food and feed them. But they generally didn't like too many family members within the hospital. So you often found them sat outside cooking food and doing laundry. These are old pictures from my medical elective. This is the pharmacy here on the left at St. Luke's Hospital. As you can see, a lot of counter space and not many medicines available. I'm hoping that things have improved a little bit. On the right was the investigations room. Just here on the left is the ultrasound machine and the bed that you lie on for the ultrasound. They didn't have an X-ray machine at that point. The people that needed an X-ray had to go on a minibus about 15 minutes down the road to the next hospital to have their X-ray done and then come back. And if you can imagine, generally the people that needed the X-ray were often quite sick and didn't really want to be in the back of the minibus because they needed treatment. I'm pleased to hear that I did some research and St. Luke's Hospital now has an X-ray machine of its own. So there has been some progress in the 16 years since I've been there. These are some more photos of St. Luke's Hospital, the inpatient ward on the left with one of the clinical officers, and then the outpatients department on the right, which was very odd to be empty. Normally it is completely packed with every little bit of that bench area being full on both sides. How beautiful is Malawi? Very beautiful. They call it the warm heart of Africa, and the people are as beautiful as the country. Very friendly, very kind. And this is the view from Zomba Mountain and one of the beautiful waterfalls up Zomba as well. So when I was there, I was struck by the difference in things between Malawi and the UK, and how different everything was, really. And I wanted to help. So this is just a picture of one of the outreach clinics and the laboratory with the door open, and then this is what was inside. And I think there is just a few bits and pieces here to do some malaria tests and not much else equipment-wise. I thought it'd be helpful to have some healthcare comparisons between Malawi and the UK. So in Malawi, they have private hospitals, they have missionary hospitals, and they have public hospitals. Now, the private hospitals is fully paid for, often by private medical insurance, which people, if they have a job, their job often gives them health insurance. So that's when they can access the private hospitals. The missionary hospitals are run by churches and other groups, often supported by foreign money. And the patients pay a little bit towards it, and then the missionary hospital pays some of it as well. And then public hospitals are the government hospitals, and they are free for people to come. The NHS in the UK is free for all, and there is also private hospitals in the UK. For those of you in Malawi that don't know anything about the UK system, we just have a two-tier health system. This is data from the World Health Organization, the Malawi data from 2024, and the UK data from 2023. And there's a significant difference, as you can see, between the number of doctors, particularly 8 for 100,000 people in Malawi and 335 for 100,000 people in the UK. And I think when I went to Malawi, this was very clear. The hospital that I worked in had one doctor, one qualified doctor with a degree in medicine, and they were from the UK. The other people that were in the hospital, looking after the pediatric patients, looking after all the other patients, doing the C-sections, doing the appendectomies, looking after all the other people, were clinical officers with a degree in clinical medicine, rather than a diploma in clinical medicine, rather than a degree in medicine itself, because there's not enough people to do medicine. And when I came back from Malawi, I particularly wanted to help. I wanted to support the students in Malawi and to see if I could do anything at all to improve these numbers. So I came across the Medic to Medic charity, and I found that I could sponsor a student to enable them to continue their studies when they were at risk of dropping out, and therefore support one more person to complete their medicine degree and become a doctor. And then if they were a doctor in Malawi, they would then improve the health of the people around them. If they've got a qualified job, they would be able to pay the school fees for their siblings or their other family members to enable them to get better education. And the knock-on effects are pretty massive. So just to give people a picture of things, if we've got 8 doctors for 100,000 people, this is what Wembley Stadium in the UK looks like. It has a 90,000 people capacity. So to get 100,000, you've got 90,000 in this stadium, and you've got 10,000 stood outside. And if you imagine you've got just 8 doctors trying to look after all of these people if they were in Malawi. So I think sometimes it helps to have a picture. So that's how I got started. That's how I got involved. I sponsored a student, and then I started to fundraise, generally by setting up a recycling scheme where I live, asking people for rubbish, turning it into money, and supporting Medic to Medic more and more. Then I got asked if I wanted to become a trustee, and I didn't know what a trustee was. So I did some research, I had a look at things, and then that's how I've ended up here, really, as a trustee. And we need some more trustees. So here's a little bit of information about what it is to be a trustee. So from the Charity Commission in the UK, there is a statement that says trustees have overall control of a charity and are responsible for making sure it's doing what it was set up to do. So that's what we do. And To be eligible to be a trustee, you have to be either over 16 or over 18, depending on the type of charity. And the Medic to Medic charity is a CIO, Community Charitable Incorporated Organisation. So the rules say that you can be over 16 years old and become a trustee. You have to not be bankrupt, and you have to have no criminal convictions. There are some exceptions. If you've got a conviction and you've spent your time, then depending on what the conviction was for, it may be possible to become a trustee. There are some different rules for those charities involved directly with children or vulnerable people. So the main duties of a trustee, as listed on the Charity Commission website, to ensure your charity is carrying out its purposes for the public benefit, to comply with your charity's governing document and the law, act in your charity's best interests, manage your charity's resources responsibly, act with reasonable care and skill, and ensure your charity is accountable. Now, if you're giving money to a charity, you want these things to be done. So actually becoming a trustee is not very complicated. You support the charity to make sure it's doing what it says that it's supposed to do. And if the charity is already doing that, then your job is quite straightforward as a trustee. You just keep it going along the way that it should be. Each charity has a governing document which says how the money should be spent and the purposes for which the money has been obtained from fundraising. And we have to make sure that the money going out of the bank account is going to the places that we say it is going to. So a few positives about being a trustee. You can learn new skills, all sorts of different skills. You make new friends, meet people that you would never have otherwise come into contact with, and then often they become friends for life. And a big one for me is that you can be sure that when supporting a charity, you know exactly where the money is going. So I've supported other charities in the past, and I've then been frustrated that some of my money has gone on an advert or a unsolicited mail that I didn't want. And then I feel like my money has been wasted in some way. Whereas as I'm a trustee for Medic to Medic, I know exactly where the money's going, that I'm raising, that I'm fundraising for. And I know that the expenses are kept to an absolute minimum and that the majority of the money is all going to the purpose that it's intended. And that is direct to the students that are in need, to further their education and to improve the lives of people in Malawi generally. You can also have a say in what future projects are taken on by the charity. So as a trustee, you can propose a project that you think would be good, and then it can be voted on and decided whether that will go ahead or not. Or one of your other trustees may make a suggestion and you can decide whether that's a good thing, and whether you also have to decide whether that project meets the charity's objectives and whether it still follows how things should be done. It also looks good on your CV. So if you are applying for a job, you can say that you're also a trustee for a charity. So I spent some time trying to think about some negatives of my time as a trustee, and I could only think of one, and that is that you have to read quite a few policies, which can be a bit boring, but is also very interesting. And part of the job, you need to read the policies. You need to know that everything is following the law and following the way that it should be, and that is just part of knowing that the charity is running effectively as it should be. So why should you join us as a trustee? We're a friendly group of people. We only have 3 or 4 online meetings per year, so the commitment is not a significant one. There isn't something to do every week that some of the other charities may request of you. There are policies to read in between meetings. There are fundraising things to do potentially. There are things like this that you might be asked to participate in. But in general, it's not a great amount of time. You do have opportunities to get involved with project and fundraising initiatives, and I do quite a bit of fundraising, and we raise quite a bit of money through selling donated items on our eBay charity shop. So that is a project and fundraiser that we've set up, and we need some more trustees, and they can help keep us running for many more years, and therefore we can support many more students with our knock-on effects to the surrounding communities. And if anyone does want to know more about our knock-on effects, the graduate survey is a very good way of finding this information out. And yeah, we can send you a copy of the graduate survey, and you can see all of our effects of graduates and where they've gone to and what they do for us. So I think that's the end of my presentation. So does anyone have any questions for me about being a trustee?
That was awesome, Bryony. Thank you. I was a bit worried about where it was going when you had negatives listed on the content slide, but I'm glad there was only one. I would agree the policies can be a little bit heavy going at times, but yeah, necessary part of it. And would also agree, like meeting new people, making new friends, and making friends for life. I now consider Bryony a friend for life. So when you're in the trustee circle, it is a really friendly group. So yeah, thank you for sharing all of your insights. I can't see any questions in the chat box. Just having a quick look. Doesn't look like anybody has their hand up either. Yeah, so
there was one thing that I forgot to mention, and that was that some people sometimes have a concern about becoming a trustee, in that you have to handle money and that you have to do things with money and you have financial responsibilities, when actually that's not necessarily true, because we do have a very good accountant and a finance trustee that does all that. So you don't have to get involved with actually handling any money if you're not qualified to do so.
Yeah, that's a really good point as well. Yep, that's awesome. Oh, well, thank you so much. It doesn't look like there are any questions. I was just going to share some just final notices. I'll just share my screen as well very quickly. So just a note for all of our students and college partners and alumni that we've got our Cholo running event coming up on the 24th of May. So actually 4 weeks time. So we've got 5K, 10K, 21K and full marathon options, and that's going to be at Satemwa Tea Estate. So this is the second time that we've been doing it, so hopefully it will be another good weekend. So if anyone is interested, from either running it to raise money, or running it to take part, or helping us man water stations on volunteering on the day, then we'd love to hear from you as well. We have got one space left on the international Southern Malawi tour. We've got a local rate as well. So yeah, get in touch if that's of interest to you as well. We'd love to kind of fill the whole vehicle up. So yeah, one more space available. But otherwise, that's the end of our 2026 global gathering. We're really grateful to have everyone join us, and for everybody checking it out afterwards as well. Thanks so much for joining us this year. We hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to send us any questions or queries or anything else that you'd like to ask over email. But otherwise, have a lovely evening.
Thank you. Bye.